David Essel here with you, asking you a question that so few of us ever ask ourselves. What is your purpose here on earth? What is our purpose here on earth? For the last 43 years, as a number one best-selling author, counselor, executive coach, and so many more different topics, this is a real passion of mine, helping people find their purpose in life. In the last 3 to 4 years, it's been totally messed with, hasn't it? Oh my gosh. So many people that were on purpose, maybe they owned a business that they loved and it was shut down, or they were working for a company they loved and they got let go, or their hours were cut dramatically, or they had to work from home and it was extremely stressful. It can shatter what we feel is that purpose of why we're here, that groundedness. Now, the flip side is that when we relocate that purpose in life, whatever it might be, life becomes more meaningful. Life becomes more satisfying. Life becomes more of a rich experience versus what so many of us are going through right now is we're just on that damn hamster wheel. We're just repeating the same stuff. It's not bringing joy. It's not bringing peace. It's not bringing health. It's not bringing deeper love if we're in a relationship. We're kind of lost as a world, not just this country. So many people were on purpose and they're off purpose. And then there are millions upon millions of other people that have never really found their purpose in life. And that's so saddening because we're only here for a short period of time. I mean, we think of 60, 70, 80, 90 years is a long time, but you looking in the mirror right now, can you remember 10, 15, 20 years ago how fast that's gone? And if we're not on purpose, how it makes life a struggle. I feel very blessed, but I want to give a warning. Just because you find your purpose in life does not mean life will be a walk in the park. It doesn't mean it'll be a piece of cake. You'll still go through challenges. You'll still go through incredible ups and incredible downs. But there will be a groundedness that you know you're here doing what you're supposed to do. Even if the money isn't coming in yet, even if the accolades aren't coming in yet, even if the validation isn't coming in yet, as long as you're doing that, why you're here, why you're on this freaking round planet. If it is round, I don't even know. They tell me it is and I believe them. But why we're here is so crucial. And then we have other people, that find their way in their 60s and 70s. I mean, one of the greatest examples is Colonel Sanders, who failed miserably at almost everything he did, divorces and mental breakdowns. And then at 63, he finds his calling. And at 68, after he opened his first restaurant at 63 years of age, that was his calling. That was his purpose. Now, people who are anti-convenience junk food may say, well, that's not a really great purpose because this food isn't that healthy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that internal feeling of connection, that I'm here for a reason, that I'm needed here. It's necessary. So where do we begin? Well, first of all, I'm going to give you a written exercise because this is what I do. And even though this is a live performance giving you ideas to think about, it's crucial that you write some things down. And number one, this is going to sound pretty obvious, but write down, what is my life purpose? Question mark. Let that sit. Go down like 8 lines, but let that top one sit. And when we're done with this Facebook Live, I really want you to sit and stare at it. I want you to look at it. I want you to really, really go deep inside your own psyche and say, why the hell am I here? What is my purpose? If I found it, great. Can I make it bigger, deeper, more profound? Awesome. If I haven't found it, what might it be? And you may write down what my purpose in life is. You may have 8 things written down. That's totally cool. I'd rather have you have more than less. If you're saying, I'm not sure, it might be A or B or C or D, great. Write them all down. Because this is how we start to find ourselves if we haven't found ourselves yet. And it's an evolutionary process. What your purpose might be at 20, 30, 40, and 50 may radically change at 60, 70, and 80. In Hinduism, they have this amazing setup with those who practice it quite religiously, where that they say between 20 and 40, the purpose of life is to raise a family. From 40 to 60, the purpose of life is to try to maximize your earning potential so that you can support that family and make a difference to those who don't have what you have. And then from 60 on, it shifts dramatically. So you follow what I'm saying? Like they have this incredible setup. 20 to 40, it's family. 40 to 60, it's career and trying to create resources and savings. And then 60 on, for those people that are very deeply involved in this, it's all about spirituality and giving back and getting closer to God. Isn't that incredible? Like they have a template almost. And I'm not saying all Hindus follow this, but those who I have worked with, it's really, I've learned so much from my study of alternative and different spiritual practices, religious practices, and this one is one of the most beautiful ones to me. So that if someone is 40 and goes, I really don't know what I'm here for, hey, don't worry. Because as long as you do what I'm asking you to do and you do a little bit of writing, you'll find your purpose. So the first one is write down, what do I think it is, right? That's the first question, number one. Number two, I want you to find someone you trust implicitly. Someone that you can talk to and say, hey, listen, I've got to ask you a question and I want it to be confidential. You've known me for 2 years, 20 years, 40 years. Could you take a few minutes and write down what you think my purpose on earth is? Someone who knows you, someone who loves you, someone who trusts you and you trust them. Ask them, because sometimes it's so obvious to those around us. Oh my God, you're so great with kids. Why aren't you working with kids? You're so great with the elderly. Why aren't you working with elderly? You love nature so much. Why aren't you doing more in nature? You love sports. Why aren't you volunteering as a coach? You love to help entrepreneurs, but why aren't you? Do you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes those outside eyes looking in can see so clearly what we can't see. And why is that? Well, one of the reasons is that when we're often raised with limitations. Well, and I will tell you a personal story of myself. I was raised to be an athlete. That was it. That was a natural. My purpose in life was to be an athlete. And my purpose when I was a young kid, up until I went to college, was that I was going to be an NBA All-Star. I was going to be a professional basketball player. I got to college and I found out that that was not my purpose. I was never going to reach that level of expertise. So then I had to find a new purpose, right? But here was the thing that was fascinating to me from where my purpose was early on in life. I stayed in the world of athletics because that was my purpose. That was my love. That was my everything, right? And I went into sports psychology and I started working with athletes and bodybuilders and all these things with their mind. And that was my purpose for 10 years. And then in 1990, my purpose changed dramatically. When I had a failed suicide attempt, I went heavily into the world of mental health. And all of a sudden, my purpose changed dramatically. And I'm working in the world of mental health, and I have no background in journalism or broadcast journalism. And then all of a sudden I found that I had a new purpose in the 90s, and that was to be a syndicated radio host. It was never a goal. It was never a plan. But you see, when you start to follow what you love, doors will open, not at the timeline you want. Okay, so let's be clear. Maybe it will, but the odds are no. But if you keep going after that which is natural, which is I'm going to give you as an exercise number 3, when you keep going after those things that are a passion for you, doors start to open, right? And so all of a sudden my purpose went from being a jock, an athlete, to being a sports psychologist. And I was told my whole life, not by anyone that didn't like me or hated me, but by society, that I was not a creative person, that I had nothing to do with the world of art, that I was really good physically with my athletic abilities and then mentally with helping other athletes. But it never came to me that I might be an artist, that I may have a new purpose coming. I never considered that. Why? Because it was never told to me by anyone. My family celebrated my athletic abilities, but they didn't think that there was any artistic abilities there, and neither did I. And society validated my ability to go and speak on stage and to inspire people for healthier lives and stress management and all that. And that was for a period of time. But no one ever said that I had a creative bone in my body until I reached a place where I had to start writing about the discomfort that I was feeling, the addictions I was going through, the loss of relationships, the unknowing who the heck am I and why am I here on earth? And I started jotting down notes. And that became my first book, Phoenix Soul, One Man's Search for Love and Inner Peace. You see, I was searching, right? And this is a big key in regards to finding your purpose, is that, this was my first book that I ever wrote, and it was a book of discovery, Phoenix Soul, One Man's Search for Love and Inner Peace. And believe it or not, it's written in free-form poetry and free-form consciousness writing. You see, I have no background in literature or journalism. I have no background in anything that has to do with being an author. But my purpose in life told me something different. And as I started to grow in my own life, I started to see what my real true purpose was. And that was to put everything aside other than helping others to heal. I came to my purpose after trying all these other ones that were my temporary purposes. And then I came to the real purpose. And the real purpose was to give everything I have every day to strangers, to friends, to lovers, to family, everything I possibly can. And I'm not a saint by any means. I still make errors. I'll make them continually probably, but I don't get hung up on that. That's just being human. I know I have a greater calling. I know you have a greater calling. I know we all have a greater calling. But you may have to ask your friends and family what they think that your purpose here on earth is in order to get you out of our blind spots, right? We accept what society says. We maybe, when you were growing up, your parents or a well-meaning teacher said, oh, you are not meant for the sciences. You are not meant for anything to do with the medical world. You are, and then you become a freaking doctor, right? But you have to break through that mass consciousness of people telling you, because you don't have this education, you can't do that. Or because you don't have this money, you can't do that. You know, I remember one of my friends was the CEO, Scott Edmondson, and the president of Chico's athletic or women's wear. And I mean, billion-dollar company. And he had a high school freaking diploma. Like his purpose on earth was way above what his academic potential said. And how this gentleman became the CEO of one of the largest women's clothing companies in the world is mind-blowing, right? With a high school freaking diploma. His purpose was so great that he didn't allow a lack of education to get in the way of his purpose in life. What is your purpose? Have you figured it out? Are you maximizing it? And then the last exercise, and remember, number one is what you think all of your potential purposes are. Number two, you ask someone that knows you, that loves you, that you trust, what they think your purpose in life could be or should be. And then number three, I want you to do this. Write down those tasks that are effortless. Write down those experiences that bring you great joy. Write down everything that you love. Everything that when you do it, you go into what's called flow. Do you remember that book, Flow? Mikhail, I forget his last name. It's a very, very long Russian last name. I forget how you pronounce it. But you know, he wrote this amazing book long, long time ago called Flow. And it was about when you're on purpose, you will spend hours and hours doing what you're here to do without any break in concentration. That's flow. Have you ever experienced that? And if you haven't, that's okay. There's still plenty of time left. But we have to start moving today. The purpose of this Facebook Live is to inspire you to get off of that hamster wheel, to get off of a life of maybe boredom or addiction or a low self-confidence, low self-esteem, to get away from that life of anger, irritability, that life sucks and people suck. And yeah, life can suck at times, and there's a lot of people that do suck. But life can be really grandiose, and there can be phenomenal people. There are millions upon millions, if not billions, of incredible people on this earth. So what is your purpose? Because when you find it, yes, you're going to have challenges. I don't want to mislead anyone. But the joy that will come will be insurmountable. You'll feel connected to yourself at a level that you may never have felt before. People will start to see your shining grace coming from your eyes, your smile. They'll start to see a shift in your energy, which is what we're here for. You know, I think the ultimate purpose in life is to find a pathway that helps others, or helps animals, or helps the planet from an ecosystem point of view. You know, there's so many different ways that you can make a difference in this world. I never thought I'd write books, and we have 13. My 13th one just came out. Never in a million years. I remember running into a homeless man. I've told this story many, many times. His name is Mark, and, you know, I won't go into the full story because I've told it many times, but I will tell you this. Out of my discussions with a homeless man came this book, Rockstar, Finding God's Purpose for Your Life. And in this book, I tell a story about a rock that had no purpose, that was filled with anxiety and depression because it didn't know why it was here on earth. And through its perseverance and overcoming the anxiety and overcoming the depression and creating great faith in its little rock self, at the end of the story, you'll be blown away at how he found his purpose and how his purpose changed this world. Your purpose may change one person a day, or one person a month, or one person a year, or maybe 1,000 people a year. When you're on purpose, you automatically start to change people around you because they want to know your secret. How can you be at peace during these challenging times? How can you bounce back from being let go from your job without going into addiction? How can you bounce back from a failed relationship? If you have a strong purpose, you can bounce back from anything because your purpose is greater even than you. And when you tap into it, life unfolds in ways that we maybe never thought we could. I want you to take these exercises. If you have to watch it again, watch the video again. Write down the exercises. There's magic in the world of writing. If we stay stuck in our head, it's really hard to find our way through life. But when we start to write and express and then ask for help, do you notice step number 2 is asking for help? You're not alone. You can ask me for help, for God's sake. TalkDavid.com or DavidEssel.com. I have gone through multiple purposes in life, and I'm in a brand new purpose now. It is all about helping people. It is all about being loved and loving others. It's about looking people in the eyes and making the homeless feel seen and making workers in menial jobs seem important because they are important. And my purpose is changing over these years, and it'll change again probably, but it'll always have the same theme. How can I help you? And you, and you. I'm David Essel. Please share this video, watch it again. If you're on purpose, celebrate the hell out of yourself. If you're not, never give up. Because there are people who find their purpose in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. I want you to find it before them, but if you don't, it's okay. I'm on your side. Let's go today. I'm David Essel. Have a beautiful day.